Alright boys, today is an alpha review of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, at least specifically this 2v2 mode that was released to PlayStation this past weekend, I think for like 3 or 4 days. But essentially, we got to experience this new take on Modern Warfare and this 2v2 mode as well, which was extremely interesting because I thought, man, it's only 2 versus 2. That kind of steers away from what we previously experienced with Call of Duty. Like Call of Duty was all about going in, popping caps, hitting kill streaks, and just getting crazy. This 2v2 mode really dialed things back for me. And if I got any old school Destiny players in here, the vibe that I got from this mode, especially the hardcore variant, was very Trials-like, back when Trials was elimination. So first up, there was actually 2 modes of 2v2 this past weekend with the alpha. The first version was a little more casual. Everyone started off with the same loadout. You spawn on either side of the map. You move forward either as a team or by yourselves or however way you want to do it. And the goal is just to kill the other team. It's elimination. Once you kill them, they're dead. You can play it slow, you can play it fast, whatever way you want to play it, completely up to you. Now, something that was also very interesting is that when you first spawn, you can't just start chunking your grenades immediately. Like, that was like the first thing I wanted to do, was throw a couple grenades across the map. No, there's actually like a 4 or 5 second cooldown before you can ever use any of your equipment. Now, this 2v2 mode, like I said, it seems very uneventful considering there's only 2 enemies on the map. But boys, it hits chaos very quickly. Matter of fact, matches went by extremely fast, depending on how well you played and how well you collapsed with your teammate. And like most game modes in any game that involves elimination, map knowledge, communication, both of those things are extremely important in guaranteeing victory. I had a few teammates this past weekend that were openly communicating, and it really helped, especially when you needed to get a call out on an enemy that was maybe hiding somewhere. Again, like most elimination modes, communication is one of the most valuable skills and assets you can have in these game types. Now, something else I really liked about this variant was the randomness to the preset loadouts. Like, I love that 1 second you're using a pistol, the next second you're using shotguns, and it was constantly swapping things up, which really makes us become a more well-rounded player. Like, I know many people that play multiplayer, especially with Call of Duty games, you kind of marry up to a specific weapon type and a specific loadout, and then that's it. You don't really bend much. And normally you would just flock to something that's just meta. This variation, though, in these preset loadouts really added a lot of value to that player that does take the time to learn all these various different weapons. I really liked it, guys. But the next mode was actually my favorite. This one, I would say, is the hardcore variant to this 2v2 mode. You actually would spawn just like you did in the previous mode on either side of the map. That would swap throughout the game, but you spawn with no weapons. Instead, weapons and equipment would be spread out around the map. So this added like an extra edge to it. Do you want to take the risk and run for that really good weapon out there in the middle, but possibly be shot up before you can get to it? Or do you want to just use that pistol that's sitting right there next to the spawn point? So like I mentioned in the previous mode, map knowledge and communication being 2 very key things. Now, map knowledge takes another element in which knowing where weapon spawn points are, and specifically maybe what that weapon even is. This was a really cool mode, and I like this version a lot more. And again, like I said, I got like a Trials vibe to it. This was hiding even more with this hardcore variant. Now, something I really liked that Call of Duty added in was that you couldn't just sit in the back of the map indefinitely. No, there was a timer, and once a certain duration had passed, a control point would pop up there in the middle. And of course, whatever team captures that control point wins that round. So it really pushed people to play more aggressively. Nobody wants to sit around and wait for the guy camping in the back to finally make a move. So I really like that they threw an objective in, despite this pretty much being an elimination game type. And again, like I said, we've seen a lot of these same mechanics previously, and that's something I want to take away from this 2v2 mode. There's really nothing here that's out of the normal, but there is an experience there that I immediately picked up on that I know there's a lot of players that have never got to truly experience, and that is that tension. That tension right there at the beginning of the round, when you can see right across the field from you 2 other enemies that are about to come at you with maybe a strategy you've seen previously, maybe something out of the box and completely different. Who knows? Maybe for 6 rounds straight, they're gonna run directly at you and never change their strategy. But that still didn't stop the anticipation each and every single one of those rounds. And in terms of that tension that I'm talking about, it's the same sort of tension that I felt the first time I played Trials, when I was nearing my final games going into Flawless. Those are the moments when the games got extra tense and you really dialed in to see what your opponent was doing, where they were going, how they were reacting round to round. And the same type of mentality and feel was something that came up in this game mode. Again, guys, it's been a long time since I felt this sort of tension. And I know there's a number of games that brings this level of anticipation round to round, Rainbow Six Siege specifically. And you can probably pick up on some of the mechanics here, that some things were also taken from Siege. But if that is what Call of Duty was trying to do, was add a more tense game mode where it was equal on both sides, they did it with this. But I will say it isn't for everyone, because as much as I enjoyed this game mode, this will not be a game mode that I feel like a lot of players are gonna live in. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of old school COD players that enjoyed the chaos of team deathmatch, that enjoyed just going in, burning through enemies, racking up kill streaks, and going ham. And that level of chaos also brought about a level of freedom that wasn't as tense and definitely was not nearly as hardcore as what you will experience with this 2v2 mode. Now, I'm not sure if Call of Duty is shipping this 2v2 mode as like their flagship mode for the new Call of Duty game. I'd heard that they're gonna be running some tournaments, and I guess that would be a great indicator of whether or not people enjoy this game mode by simply looking at the numbers of people watching it. And it may actually do great. There may be a ton of people tuning in to watch 2v2 against some high skilled players, because what you're seeing here in this gameplay, everything you're seeing here is pretty linear. There's some room for some high IQ plays. I was not pulling them off, okay? I literally would just pick up a gun, aim, and shoot. Now, as more players become familiar with this game mode, I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of stuff that people do to outplay their opponents. Stuff we definitely didn't think of in this alpha. But as far as this game mode specifically being like the flagship game mode for the new Call of Duty, I'm not sure if this is it or not. Again, similar to something like Blackout last year with Blackout 4, yes, that was a flagship game mode for the new Call of Duty game last year. But with this, I did enjoy this 2v2 mode, but I wouldn't say this is the game mode that's gonna make me pull the trigger on this game. I really need to experience the multiplayer. I think we got a beta coming up here in a few weeks. Hopefully one's gonna be here on PC. I think this is gonna give me a better understanding of the game. Like, I wanna say in terms of feel, the game felt great. Even time to kill felt good. Mobility, movement, all of those things felt solid. But I'm only experiencing this from a 2v2 mode. So hopefully after experiencing the beta, I'll have a better understanding of where I stand on this game. Now, I will say right after I did the alpha, I immediately went to Steam and downloaded Modern Warfare 2. It felt good, boys. It's been a long time. I will say though, if you happen to come to Steam and play Modern Warfare 2, there is a lot of people using aimbot, and I mean good aimbots. They don't miss. So be prepared to just have somebody go in on you every now and then, because I don't think Activision or anybody cares about these guys cheating. So if there was one thing that Call of Duty accomplished this past weekend, yes, it gave me an itch. I tried scratching it with Modern Warfare 2. I'm definitely going to be tuning in for the beta whenever it releases, and hopefully that will satisfy it. Well, fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.